Hey, what's up everybody, this is Muth24, and today I'm going to be doing a review of the first two graphic novel collections of the Venom storyline. This is going to be a little strange because the first sets of issues are collected in this first volume here, and then the next set of issues actually tie into Spider Island, which I'll do a review of separate at a different time. But the issues that follow up Spider Island take place in Circle of Four here, which is sort of like a mini crossover event with a few key characters from the Marvel Universe. So the artwork on the front of the first volume of Venom is kind of misleading because it shows Venom like Eddie Brock's Venom, all muscled out, weird tongue hanging down, big claw hands. That Venom does, or that appearance of Venom does show up at a few points in this, but that's not how Venom looks for the majority of this, because this is a new Venom. For a while there, Mac Gargan, who is the Scorpion, took on the Venom symbiote and was basically a Scorpion Venom thing. But now the Venom symbiote has bonded to Flash Thompson, who in the Spider-Man comics was Peter's sort of school bully. He picked on Peter all the time, but thought Spider-Man was the coolest thing ever. At some point, he was deployed in the military, I believe, to Afghanistan or Iraq. I don't remember which exactly. He lost his legs when he was in service. And then he comes back stateside and is given the opportunity to enlist in this secret military program that currently has possession of the Venom symbiote. And so when he bonds with the Venom symbiote, it grants him new legs, obviously super speed, super strength, agility, the whole shebang that you would have with Venom. But it's a very militarized, like Black Ops type suit. He's got like almost like this bomb-proof vest sort of thing. And there are points where you see the tentacles from the symbiote holding various guns and firing those as Venom's, running across a rooftop or something to that extent. It's a really cool redesign, and I'll show more of that in a minute here. But it's written by Rick Remender, at least these first few volumes are. And I really love what he's done with the character. Like, Eddie Brock's Venom is always going to be the classic Venom, and I love it because it's sort of this twisted rival foe type character to Spider-Man. But this one we have Venom as something between an anti-hero and a hero. Obviously, Flash Thompson wants to be the good guy, but the fact that he's carrying out these sort of top-secret missions and nothing's actually on paper here, he's going in and to small European countries in the first volume here and dealing with some really dangerous, superpowered villains in ways that he doesn't have to, think about the whole morality of killing them because they're bad guys, sort of thing. So he doesn't stick to the moral compass that Spider-Man does, or other characters who, refuse to kill enemies. But he's still a really likable hero, I feel. Obviously, he's coming off of the whole routine of being a soldier, so he's got that mindset, but then he's also kind of ditches the meathead jock routine that they used to do in some of the older Spider-Man comics, which is very much appreciated because I mean, Flash was kind of the guy that you liked to dislike in the old comics because he was a jerk. But in this one, it's sort of him, making up for lost time a little bit, I think. He has a relationship with Betty Brant in the start of this comic, and it's one of those things where it's a very realistic approach because obviously he can't reveal who he actually is as Venom, but it's also one of those couples that, and I find this is very rare in comics, that I actually found a couple where I really want them to succeed. There's somewhere you're told long enough that, there's supposed to be a couple like Peter Parker and MJ, and that's all well and fine, but there's very few comic book couples, at least I feel, where you have one who's a superhero and one who's not, and they're keeping the whole secret on anything out there, that you really feel like you actually care about that much. So I thought that was really cool on their part. But the first volume here, like I said, it's a bunch of different stories. Actually, on the back is a really good shot of what the Venom suit looks like. I think it's really awesome. It's very sleek, bulked out just enough. He's got like those Mad Max shoulder pads going on there. But it's very practical, and that's what I appreciate about this whole Venom run. The artwork in here is superb. I absolutely love it. And it tends to vary a little bit from one issue to the next. But here's an example of the first issue's artwork, though, with Jack-O-Lantern, who is a recurring foe to Venom. and he's actually really interesting. I don't know that much about Jack-o'-lantern outside of this, but the way they handle him as sort of being fixated and obsessed with Venom and the whole crime syndicate that you find out that Jack-o'-lantern works for and all that, it reminds me a lot of how Venom was to Spider-Man, only much crazier. That's basically what it is. Like, Jack-o'-lantern's a lot darker of a foe for Venom than Venom was for Spider-Man, I feel at least. This is also a T+ comic there, so it's definitely for older readers, both in terms of the content, the dialogue, the themes going on, and you know, there's more blood and violence than in certain Marvel comics. But then you have like the artwork for the individual issues here. There's some really cool stuff going on there as well. Here we have him facing down Kraven the Hunter, fighting in caves, and they do some really cool stuff with he's got like night vision goggles there on the mask, but they do some really cool stuff with the colorations and the backgrounds and all that, as well as sort of the texture of the Venom symbiote itself. I did mention before that there are parts where he sort of hulks out, if you will, and goes full classic Venom there with all the muscles and stuff. So it's really cool for the first volume there, and they do a good job of balancing the whole personal life with the superhero side of things in ways that some of the other comics don't pull off as well, I feel. Spider Island being a great example of that, where I'll get more in depth when I do a proper review of that, but it's too much in that, I feel, of Peter Parker's love life with some new girlfriend. And I honestly don't follow the Spider-Man comics these days that closely, because I know a lot of the stuff they've been doing just doesn't appeal to me at all, like Dr. Octavius being in Spider-Man's body and the whole One More Day thing, or just, I don't know, none of that seems really that cool to me. Spider Island I got just because it ties into the Venom stuff. But I really like the way that they handle Flash Thompson's personal life and his superhero stuff. In the back here you have some storyboard panels before they were colored, which is always kind of cool. Some concept art there, and just black and white sketches. I also really like the way they handle Venom's thought process and the way that they present his inner dialogue. It's very calculated but very fast-paced, and it does a good job of handling sort of his thoughts on what's going on outside of the fights, what's going on between him and Betty, like as he's thinking of her back home, what's going on with other heroes that he runs into, like Captain America here. And you can see they do a really good job with the environment. The way they handle the snow here and the trees and all, that's really cool. But as I mentioned, there's sort of a slightly different art style for each volume, and this second volume has Flash run into Jack-o'-lantern again, and they sort of have they're going at odds with one another there. But then he gets tied up in a bit of a scenario with Red Skull and Ghost Rider and X-23, as they all find themselves wound up in this one scheme planned by Blackheart, who wants to unleash hell on Earth through Las Vegas. And it's a bit drawn out, but it's not in a bad way, because they do a lot of exploring the individual characters. Like, this is a Venom issue, but it focuses just as much on Red Skull and X-23 and the new Ghost Rider as the story progresses, which is nice. To my knowledge, these are all Venom issues. I believe the back of the collection says Venom 10 through 14 and 13.1 through 13.4. So this being like a mini crossover event, these are all Venom issues. None of these are issues that actually are part of the Ghost Rider or I don't know if Red Hulk's got his own storyline, but none of these are part of those stories. So that's kind of cool that they have all these characters get as much time in the spotlight there once the story gets going as Venom, who is the obviously main character of this, gets himself. They also create some brand new characters for this storyline, and they're basically mirror images, polar opposites of what the... Well, not exactly polar opposites, but they're basically the weaknesses that... The greatest weaknesses of the heroes personified. And this is from a mirror that Blackheart has that he uses on them. All of those designs are pretty cool. There's one or two that definitely stand out as being something that I'd really like to see return as a character design. But I don't know how likely that is to happen because the fact that it's, just for this tie-in event, and they're not actually characters so much as they are just the opposites, the weaknesses of the characters that they are being used against there. But again, we have some really cool individual issue art there. You got Venom, Red Hulk's hand in the background, the Las Vegas neon lights there. And then, as we get to the end of this collection, we once again have the uncolored artwork there. We have the full panel of the different characters for the cover art. We have some concept art of some of the different characters here. And then they also have I guess a script, if you would. I don't know what I'd call this. Basically, it's just a description of everything that's going to happen in the panels, like the main story points and all the dialogue. There's another name for that, and I can't think of what the proper term for it is. But anyways, you got some of the dialogue they're going to have in there before they actually inked it and were writing everything in the different boxes in the comic book release. But this hardcover one, the only reason I have the hardcover is because this thing is really hard to find in print, apparently. I looked all over the place for it and ended up getting this through eBay, actually, brand new, and spent like $20 for it. All the other ones I have were paperback and went for like $12-15 on Amazon, which similarly not a bad deal for those. So if you want to get into Venom, just know the Circle of Four is a little bit harder to come by than the other ones, but it does look really cool even without the cover sleeve on it there. I highly recommend this series, though. I'm getting to the later issues just now, or later volumes rather, just now, because I was reading some of the Age of Ultron companion and reading the Nova and Guardians X-Men crossover and stuff like that. But I highly recommend this. I think it's a really cool direction for Venom, and honestly, I think right now, just based on what I'm seeing, they're doing way cooler things with Venom than they are with Spider-Man in the comics, and that's surprising to say, but like right now I think that Flash Thompson is one of my all-time favorite Spider-Man universe characters. Like, he's not exclusively Spider-Man, but obviously where the Venom character originates from. I'm never going to have a replacement there for the Eddie Brock Venom because it's the original, it's classic, and it's really cool. But this is definitely a wonderful new school interpretation. Is really cool the way that they've chosen to go with this character. The sort of the mentality that he has, the proper care that he goes into handling the Venom symbiote most of the time. There's sometimes where he lets himself off the chain a little bit and like I said, hulks out into the buff, muscular Venom there. But it's cool to have someone who knows his stuff, both in the sense of him being a soldier and understanding the real threat that the Venom symbiote poses, not just to himself, but to everyone else behind the black symbiote suit there. So if you get a chance, if you like Spider-Man and Venom stuff, I highly recommend this because it's really cool. It's a very fresh, interesting take on the Venom character. So with that, I will see you guys next time.